All right, let's start on
Let's
Sunday
go.
Night Football with recapping the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Chiefs kind of steamrolled them. 41-31, the final, but only because, well, I would say a garbage time touchdown. Like there was Patrick Mahomes was intercepted late. The Bucs running hurry up, thinking, all right, if we score a touchdown here, maybe we get onside. We got a prayer, but it wasn't really going to happen. The Chiefs looked incredible on offense. Patrick Mahomes, 23 of 37 for 249 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Sort of, I think it doesn't really give the whole detail of how good he looked. And that offensive line was fantastic. Both Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco ran really well behind that offensive. Pacheco ran really well behind that offensive line. The Buccaneers had the fewest rushing yards in the first half of any game in Tom Brady's career. Tom Brady threw the most consecutive passes, 20, I think it was, check out at 28 maybe, of his career, which is crazy because he's been playing, he's 45. And the Bucs look very one-dimensional, and it's probably their best day on offense so far this season, but the defense that had been so good just got carved up, Wilson, by that fantastic Kansas City offense.
I don't even know if it's their best day on offense. You sort of talked about it. All they did was throw the ball, and they were down early. You can't fumble the opening kickoff because if you do, you're going to give a touchdown. That happened. You can't take a strip sack because that's going to end in a touchdown. That happened. Breech, let me ask you this. They rushed the ball 6 times combined, the Buccaneers did, for 3 yards. If you got 6 NFL carries in any game, doesn't matter to the team, do you think you could get 3 yards?
Maybe. That's a half yard per carry?
Yeah.
A half yard per carry?
Sorry, what? Did you say you could get
3 yards and 6
on 3 carries?
No, he said
you're not getting any yards, Breech.
He asked if I could get 18 inches per carry.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Well, the point is this. The fact that we would have this conversation tells you how bad the Bucs run game is. And I'll also say this. At no point during this game, because again, it started with that opening kickoff fumble by Rashad White, did I feel like the Chiefs weren't going to steamroll this team. Like the Buccaneers never threatened Kansas City as far as I was concerned. And, Brinson's all about the revenge games. I do think there was probably some of that last time they played. They got stomped. And the offensive line, as Brinson noticed, much better. You talk about Patrick Reed having an edge. I think Andy Reid has an edge too. Like he's all fun and, Santa Claus during Christmas time, but I think he likes to stick it to people. And unfortunately for Todd Bowles, he was on the receiving end of that whooping. Let me ask
the most points given up by Todd Bowles by the Bucs since Todd Bowles arrived there as defensive coordinator in 2019.
Breech, let me ask you this. Joe Musso asked me this on HQ, me and BMAC, and it's actually, I was thinking about it during the game, and maybe it's just speculation, pointless speculation and nothing else. Tom Brady looks less happy now than anytime I can remember. He's still playing at a high level. He's one of the best players, yada, yada, yada. Does he look less happy to you, or is that just the fact that he's throwing a bunch of receivers he would prefer not to throw to?
Well, we know for a fact does not insult Tom Brady that he is a sore loser. Nobody hates losing more than this guy. He doesn't shake people's hands after losses. And I think it set in pretty quickly that he was not going to win this game. And then he had angry loss face on his face starting in about the second quarter, right when the Buccaneers decided they weren't going to run the ball anymore and they were only going to throw it. That was the sign of a team that said, all right, this is our only shot to win. And I feel like the play that really shifted the momentum and said the Chiefs are winning this game was after the Buccaneers came up with a huge play, stopped Kansas City on 4th and 1, and then the Buccaneers immediately get the ball back. Tom Brady gets hit, fumbles it. Kansas City goes down and scores, takes a 28-10 lead, and that was all she wrote. I mean, that's where the upset Brady face immediately showed up. That's where the Buccaneers clearly decided, you know what, we can't even afford to run anymore because the Chiefs might put up 75 points in this game. So I don't know. I wasn't watching him closely in the first quarter, but it just felt like that he doesn't usually fall behind this early in a game. He's not usually down 3 touchdowns in the second quarter.
I feel like all season he's had that face. And part of it is because he didn't have Godwin. He didn't have Mike Evans for the suspension game and no Gronk. And he wanted to get out. He wanted to go to Miami, according to reports. Someone in the comments, Victor, asked if the things get cupcakeier for Tampa Bay, and they actually do. And they're going to win this division anyway, but they just don't feel like the joke. Like I didn't think they were going to win the division, so I wasn't high on them coming into the season. But they're Atlanta at Pittsburgh. They're going to win that game 1,000-0. Then at Carolina before they play the Ravens. So they have 3 get right games. The toughest game being the Falcons. But again, I don't I don't feel great about this team in December. In January.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's fair to be concerned about them. I also think that there's a chance that this team, with the schedule that you're discussing, that they should really go 4-2, worst case, between now and when they play the Seahawks. Is that in Germany? Is that the German game?
Germany.
That's
Yes.
Allianz
In Munich.
In Munich.
You know what's happening in Munich right now? Oktoberfest. Should have done the podcast from there.
That would be great. But I think there's a chance that you could see this team kind of coalesce, and they have Tom Brady. They've got weapons. They need to stay healthy. If they do that, they can make a run. I agree with you. I don't feel great about anybody on either side of the draw, really. I mean, you can say the Chiefs are awesome and the Bills are really dangerous, but I agree with your point.
You just named three teams that are better than the Buccaneers.
Well,
what I'm saying is I agree with your point that this doesn't feel like a Super Bowl winning team right now, but we are just 4 weeks through the season. They're 2-2. We feel like they should cruise in the division as long as Brady stays healthy. And, it's like we always talk about with Belichick, likes to carve the season out into quarters. And you can't really do it now. You can't do it because it's 17, which is annoying. But these segments of the season, the Buccaneers are kind of finding their identity. And I'd be curious to see what it looks like moving forward. But no, they don't feel like a team that's overly impressive at the moment.
And I'll say real quick, Wilson, to your question even a little bit more, it does feel like all the time there is a point, at least over the past 5 years, in the first quarter of the season where we're like, does Brady want to be playing anymore? Even when his first season, the year they won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, 2020, I remember there was a primetime loss to the Bears. It was total shocker. Nick Foles was the quarterback for the Bears, and Brady just looked dejected, and it was like, does he want to play anymore? And I think they were 3-2, so I guess that was week 5. And it was like, why did he even sign with a new team? Because they're not going to do anything. So, I agree with Prince. It's early in the season. It's tough to make a strong judgment on them because so many injury, suspension to Mike Evans, just everything has gone wrong so far, and they're still 2-2. They're fine.
All right.
Definitely some reasonable concern over the level of happiness that Brady is dealing with vis-a-vis his wife and her lack of interest in him continuing to play football.
Well, I mean, the man is 45 years old.
I'm just saying, like, if your wife's not happy with you about something, it bleeds into it can bleed into your work life. Like, that's not an outrageous thing, right? You're like I was saying, we were talking about this the other day, but like, if I've got something on my mind, a lot of times I won't play golf as well. And sometimes it seems like Tom Brady's just getting usually he's used to getting off like the finishes a game and he's just like, I'm Tom Brady, I'll go do what I want. And now it's like, oh, you missed.
I'll be honest. Breech and I have talked about this. I don't think we've ever done a podcast with you when you haven't had something on your mind, given the quality that you're putting out there. No offense.
Seems
Breech. I don't even know what that means.
It seems unnecessarily personal, but okay.
I was thinking about that for a while you were going on with your little rant there.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Where did these come from? My goodness.
I love that Billy's getting a little color in this podcast finally.
What are you talking about?
And also, Brinson is no longer control all the sound.
Yeah, that's also.
It has been 8 years.
Tar Heels in the back of his pocket somewhere.
Right? He's got that.
Anyway, yeah, would you like to, while you're poo-pooing the Bucs because you picked them not to win the division, they're clearly going to win it. Would you like to offer up any thoughts or commentary about the Chiefs and the AFC West and where that division's headed?
So, I was asked to rank my teams in the AFC as of this game on Sunday night, and I have Chiefs, Bills, and then a distant third, the Ravens. Just based on what we've seen so far, the Ravens have to figure out how to finish football games because they should have won
They should be undefeated.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the Chiefs and the Bills are the same team basically. I think there's a lot to love about both teams. Their quarterbacks are both two of the best athletes on the planet. And I mean, it feels like the 13-second game last playoffs. You just go back and forth each and every drive and just comes down to whoever has the ball last. The Chiefs are fine. I think this was sort of we can win without Tyreek game. They ran the ball 37 times. They ran the ball 31 more times than the Buccaneers. Think about that. Andy Reid is not known for running the ball a lot, and they ran it effectively. And shout out to Isaiah Pacheco. That dude's wearing number 10. That's a lot of responsibility comes to wearing number 10 in Kansas City. He plays as hard as Tyreek plays. Now, he's not Tyreek, but he's fast. He's sort of built the same size, and he's just looking to run over people and run into end zones. And I love the way he plays. The fact that he's a 7th-round pick is
I thought Chris Collinsworth had a good point too. It's like the way that he's playing clearly has sort of inspired Clyde Edwards-Helaire to step up his game. Like Edwards, he looks like he's having the best season of his career by far.
He's running hard too, except for that 4th down, throwing the ball on 4th down. The other takeaway that I had when watching the game is Pacheco was a 7th-round pick. Clyde was a 1st-round pick. Again, let's not overdraft these running backs.
That's perfectly fair. All right, Kansas City looks like a truck. I think they're going to cruise in the AFC West.
Are they though? Breach? Are they?
Well,
I feel like they are. I feel like we all slept on Kansas City because Buffalo was out there as the
didn't all
darling.
sleep on Kansas City.
Well, I mean, we didn't sleep on. Everybody had
I
them
yelled
winning the
over and over
playoff.
again that they were the best value in preseason betting to win the AFC West. I would not stop saying.
Yeah, no, that's not sleeping on. I'm talking about the Super Bowl. Everybody has them winning the AFC West. I'm talking about the darling of getting to the Super Bowl. And when I say everybody, I'm going by the predictions that we make on our website.
Did everybody have him win the Super Bowl? That's a good
No,
stat. Too.
no, I'm saying that's where the sleeping happened, is that everybody had the Bills or someone that's not the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Like you had the Ravens, I had the Broncos. Wilson, who'd you have? Not the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, the Chargers. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody expected the Chiefs to be good. No one.
You had the Chargers.
It was like the Chiefs aren't going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I said Chargers.
No, I said Breach had the Chargers too.
Oh, okay.
But
There
I
were
had
more Chargers than Chiefs picks.
But everybody had the Chiefs in the playoffs. That was my point.
Okay, all right. Wow. Okay, that's ridiculous. All right.
That's ridiculous.
Of course, you're one of the Chiefs in the playoffs. Anyway, Mahomes, 67 games to 20,000 passing yards, the fastest in NFL history, beating up Matthew Stafford, who's 71, Andrew Luck, 74, Dan Marino, 74. That's basically 4 Hall of Famers if Andrew Luck hadn't retired early.